Also here with me is Mrs. Joanne Annie, the head of the Migrant Resource Center, Federal Ministry of Labor and Employment in Benin City.
Yeah, hello everyone. Good afternoon. I hope you're all doing well. Thanks for being a part of this program, and I hope we'll learn so much together today.
Thank you so much. We are so excited to have you here today, especially an authority in this particular space. And over time, most of our speakers have come from both the travel agency, from non-government organization, and some government organizations too. And having you come in and you play across the spaces that this conversation actually covers. So before we bring you in to give us your presentation, I would like to hear Angela's thoughts on migration support systems here in Nigeria. What are your thoughts around that?
Great to be here again, everyone. It's so nice to always talk about migration because we know migration is a fact of life. What we see in Nigeria, unfortunately, is the Japa syndrome that has turned to a big menace. I will call it a menace because a lot of people are going without actually knowing what they're jumping into, unfortunately. So what you find is Nigerians have places like the Migrants Resource Center where they can actually go and get the right information. Have places like the National Commission for Refugees, Migrants, and Internally Displaced Persons who can actually assist them to know what they're getting into. But we're always too fast to jump up and travel because first of all, you don't even want people to discourage you. So rather than go and get the right information, you jump into the deep end of the pool without knowing what you're going into. But in Nigeria, we have support systems. We have support systems with NIDCOM. We have support systems with the Migrants Resource Center of the Federal Ministry of Labor and Productivity. We have support systems with the Refugee Commission. We have support system with organizations like TISU Consulting and the Esangwedo Humanitarian Foundation, where we can sit down with people and tell them, listen, you can actually migrate, but there are regular routes to migration. No one says don't migrate, but we don't want you to travel and then you get there and in 6 months you're out of status and then you start running helter-skelter. We feel that you need to go after you have all information down. You know what you can do when you go to different parts of the world, whether it is in Europe, whether it is in America, whether it's been in other parts of Africa. There are different things that you can do to make you a legal migrant in those areas. In fact, we don't like to use the word legal. We like to use the word regular and irregular because migration actually is a fact of life. So we're not saying don't travel. We're just saying do it the right way. Get the right information. What are the different things you can do to go somewhere and settle in? Is it as a skilled laborer? Is it as a student? Is it as a skilled worker? There are so many things that you can go abroad in the name of that will actually get you settled in properly and in the shortest possible time. There are people who go in as students to some countries, whether it's Canada, whether it's UK, whether it's Europe, you go in as a student and then you transit into a legal person in that country. So what we try to do with our meetings here, with our webinars is one, educate people on what are the regular routes you can use to travel abroad. Where can I get those resources? And I'm so glad today that we have Joanne here from the Migrants Resource Center, because just as the name says, it's a migrants resource center. It's where you go and you hear what you need to do to be able to migrate properly, that you don't start running helter-skelter after a couple of months. We wouldn't want to take too much of Joanne's time. I think I've given us a background on what the resources we have to offer are. And I would like Joanne to be the one to tell us professionally from the government's perspective what we need to do as intending migrants. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. You've really touched a lot. It seems we are going to have a webinar where we'll be asking you a lot of questions also. So you give us a wealth of experience as regards to all these areas.
Thank you so much.
As we are speaking, there was something that just came to my mind before we move over to Joanne. This thought that says Nigeria does not want us to migrate. And I've heard a lot of people say it as if there are policies in place that prevents you from migrating. Is that correct? I would like you to speak to that. I know Joanne has a lot of response to that, but before we move to her, let me hear from you.
Absolutely not correct. Absolutely not correct. I can assure you of that. There are actually opportunities where we have Nigerians actually, what do you call it now, collaborating with other countries on having labor exchange opportunities. We actually have labor exchange opportunities where we know that, oh, these people have the right skill sets. In fact, just today I was listening on the news where someone was talking about, I'm sure you've heard of recent, there was when the president was in Japan, there was something that came up and they said, oh, Japan has given Nigerians a particular place where Nigerians can come and what do they call it? Something exchange anyway. And then your Nigerians basically took it as opportunity to jump back to that place. But they said, no, it's just for cultural exchange. We're saying you can come in, learn about our culture. We also come to Nigeria, learn about your culture. We're not saying come to our country and come and sit down and jackpot. No. But the truth is, we have cultural exchange programs. We have labor exchange programs. We have student exchange programs, as you saw the president also did of recent in St. Lucia. So there are different things on migration. Nigeria is not telling you don't migrate, but we don't want to be known as that country that has so many of its people in irregular status in the countries where they find themselves. So we're saying go, but go in the right way. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. So this will be a very interesting conversation. I can see how this is going. And at this point, I would like to welcome Joanne Annie to tell us about the Migrant Resource Center. We'll be pulling up your slide now, so you will be able to give us your presentation. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you once again. I am Joanne Annie, and I'll be talking a lot around the Migrant Resource Center. I know a lot of people have been thinking, okay, the Japa syndrome, like you said, Angela, is one thing that has actually been up and up in the society. And that's part of the reason why the federal government looked at it and said, no, we need to actually establish migrant resource centers so that people would get the right information. Now, the information is not just what you see on social media. It's we have figured out that most information you get on social media may not be as concrete as what it really is. So with the establishment of the Migrant Resource Center, it's now easier to actually assess information that I would use the term right information, so that you can get if you can actually migrate well-informed information. So I don't know. I would like to start with the introduction of the Federal Ministry of Labor and Employment, because that's the umbrella under which the Migrant Resource Center operates. And the Federal Ministry of Labor and Employment was first created in 1939 with the central purpose of ensuring cordial relationship between workers and public, in the public and private sector. Now, the Federal Ministry of Labor and Employment has the vision to have a society with peaceful and harmonious industrial relations, where safe and decent work is guaranteed. Now, I'd like you to take note of something, the term decent work, because a lot is being done around labor migration, which I'll be talking about going forward. Then the mission for the Migrant Resource, for the Federal Ministry of Labor and Employment is to create an enabling environment for national growth and sustainable development through best practices in labor administration. I would also like to take you through the different departments of the Federal Ministry of Labor and Employment before I finally land or take us to the Migrant Resource Center. We have the trade union services, we have the employment and wages, and then we have the labor inspectorate. I wouldn't want to go into so much details with two, but I would like to emphasize or lay more emphasis on employment and wages departments, because under that umbrella is where you find the International Labor Migration Division, and under which you have the Migrant Resource Center and job centers. Okay, so what are the functions of the International Labor Migration Division or desk? First of all is you have the labor migration management, you have the identification of relevant stakeholders, especially within the migration circle. And then you have the development of labor migration policies, of which one was recently reviewed. The National Policy on Labor Migration was recently reviewed in 2023. And then under the framework of the, that's the Fair Way program of the ILO. And then the creation of employment opportunities for Nigerians to work legally abroad. Okay? And then the International Labor Migration Division or desk is divided now into what we have as the Electronic Labor Exchange, which is the NELEX or job centers, and then the Migrant Resource Centers. Now, these are physical offices located in the states of the Federation. You have all job centers in every state of the Federation, but currently, we have 4 Migrant Resource Centers. Now, every state that has a Migrant Resource Center also doubles as a job center. Now, the Migrant Resource Center, okay, is located in 4 states of the Federation, like I said earlier. You have one in Lagos, location, basically the passport office in Ikoyi. And then you have one in Abuja, located at the Federal Secretariat, the one opposite the Eagle Square. And then you have the one you have in Benin here, which is located at the Federal Secretariat, Aduawa. And then you have a new one in Ado, Nasarawa State. Now, the Migrant Resource Center, which is what we're going to be talking more about basically today, is a vital institution that provides support and services to migrant workers or to migrants generally, aiming to promote safe, regular, orderly, and informed migration. I had to stress that part because that's a very important aspect of the reason why the Migrant Resource Center was actually created. It offers services such as migration advice, where we talk about, providing the guidance around migration processes, requirements, and rights and responsibilities of immigrants. But it doesn't just stop there. We looked at it, and a lot of analysis and researches have been done around the reasons why Nigerians actually migrate and then, probably have issues when they migrate. And then we're like, okay, a lot of people do not even understand migration. They do not understand the process of migration. They do not even understand why they are migrating in the first place. So the Migrant Resource Center doesn't just stop at providing you with migration advice. We also provide skills for migration through the collaboration with our social partner, the GIZ ZME, located in different states of the Federation. But here in Benin, we have our partners, GIZ ZME, here present in Benin. Now they provide, in collaboration with us, provide skills for migration. And also we do a lot of sensitizations. We do a lot of outreaches. But before I jump into that, let me take you through our target audience, the people at our target audience. We have students, generally, all migrants, intending migrants, people who want to migrate for studies, people who want to migrate for jobs, people who want to migrate from family reunions. They are our target audience. The vulnerable, those who do not have, the vulnerable people like the IDPs, persons with disability, a lot of people, women and children, they are our target group. And then we have the return migrants. This is another aspect of the activities that the Migrant Resource Center carries out, which I will be laying emphasis on as we go forward. And then also families seeking reunification. I already talked about that. Now, what are the functions of the Migrant Resource Center? I would like to start with the provision of migration information and counseling, which I said earlier. And then we also have the pre-departure orientation workshops. Now, this is something that a lot of people do not know about, because it's not just enough to migrate. You also need to have the right information basically where you're migrating to, how you're going to migrate, how you're going to settle in, the people you're going to meet there, the culture, to avoid culture shock, and a lot of other reasons. So during the pre-departure orientation, a manual was established recently to provide guidelines to actually carrying out this pre-departure orientation. This manual contains a lot of information, providing information to migrants on where they are going to, the culture, the people they are going to meet, and even connections to the diasporan body, how they're going to settle in, how they can reach out in times of trouble, how they can actually do things around remittance and investments back home. So a lot of people do not know anything, do not know about this pre-departure orientation. And it's expected that before you leave the country, before you leave Nigeria, before you migrate to anywhere, you need to understand, you need to attend one of these workshops so that you have a better understanding of where you're going to and how to go about the things you need to go about. And then also, during this pre-departure orientation, a lot of there's this activity that the Migrant Resource Center does. For example, for people that are probably they got a job and they're migrating for job purposes. Now, a lot of people do not understand the terms and conditions of service. Understanding the terms and conditions of service, it's very important. So at the Migrant Resource Center, we are able to review appointment letters, terms and conditions, and help the migrants understand the terms and conditions that they're agreeing to before they migrate. There have been issues with some people migrating to work outside the country, and then after the review of their terms and conditions, you know, at first they didn't have they were just ready to sign because everybody wants to japa. But after the review, they got to understand that, look, it's deeper than they thought. A lot of them had to even turn back because really, within terms and conditions, there are some specifics that people do not take their time to read and go through. All right. Okay, so I will still have questions around that, and I'll be able to address that. And then we also do labor information workshops and advice to job seekers. Now, this is usually done under the employment and the Employment Exchange Program, which is the NELEX platform, job centers, where we talk to job seekers, people that are interested in migrating. By the time they ask you, what are the push and pull factors? What are the push factors? The reason why people migrate, you would see that people are actually going out there because they want greener pastures, right? A lot of people are searching for jobs, but they don't understand that they may not have the right documents to actually migrate. A lot of Nigerians migrate, reaching the country of destination, they discover that they cannot work with the certificates that they have. Why? Because they probably did not make the right inquiries before migrating to the country. And then, you know, sometimes you have to regularize your documents. You have to actually compare. There is a term for it. I would have actually explained that later. But you have to be sure that you can work in other countries with the documents you have, right? So a lot of people do not understand that, look, you can't do this. You have to have to a certain extent, you have to have some level of experience. And then I would like to still emphasize for artisans, like artisans who do not understand the importance of the trade test certificate. The trade test certification. During the process of this advice, we're able to let them know that, look, you can actually migrate with the trade test certificate. You can actually find a job with the trade test certificate, but you know, information is power, like they say. So another activity we do is the psychosocial support. Now, I mentioned something around return, reintegration, and return, readmission, and reintegration, which is part of the core activities of the Migrant Resource Center, where we attend to returnees, people that have migrated and then probably returned back to the country, which could be either voluntary or involuntary. Now, we attend to these people, trying to see how we can reintegrate them back into the society. Now, we do a lot of this together through the support and the collaboration with our partners, GIZ, and also other partners such as IOM, that's the International Organization on Migration, the International Labour Organization. We also work closely with CSOs. In Edo State here, we have Genius Hub. We have a lot of CSOs that we work with. And then to ensure that these returnees are actually reintegrated. And the process is this: you have to provide them with skills. By the time you're done with counseling, because that's the first step, you have to counsel them, understand their perspective, understand their needs. do a needs assessment, and then we're able to place them to provide them with the services that they need. Now, I would still talk more on that, but for time's sake, let me just run through the slides. We also have information service, which I already mentioned earlier. I would also like to point out that our activities, there are other activities that we do as regards sensitizing the public on the dangers of irregular migration, which of course we have done a lot of them in collaboration with TISO Consulting and with some other CSOs. We do a lot of outreaches and the sensitization in communities and in schools. Now, we understand that it's not just about those who are already so grown. A lot is being done, a lot of misconceptions are being passed on to our children in secondary schools. So we have decided to actually reach out to these schools to provide them with to sensitize them on the topics of around dangers of irregular migration and human trafficking generally. And then we do, okay, I already mentioned that, the skills for migration and a lot more. So generally, before we go into the question section, I would just like to maybe probably talk about this probably at the end of the show, when we at the end of the event, when we're talking about probably our locations, our handles, and our contacts, where people can actually reach us. I would like to also stress that all the services provided at the Migrant Resource Center are completely free of charge, meaning we do not charge anybody for taking part or coming to our resource centers to get information. The government has made it easy for everybody to access. So anybody can just reach out to the Migrant Resource Center to get the information that they need. Thank you very much.
Wow, thank you. Thank you so much for giving us, to an extent, I'll call it an in-depth view into the operations of the Migrant Resource Center. Thank you so much. And while we are talking, I'm sure there are a lot of us that have questions. So if you have any question, you can drop it in the chat for those that are in the Zoom room, and those on YouTube, you can drop it in the comment section, and we'll pick them and answer as much as we can. I think, let me put it that way, as much as we can, we would answer them. And for those of us that registered online, you have probably joined the WhatsApp community, so you can equally drop questions there, and we'll be able to answer them as well. So thank you once again, Mrs. Joanne, for this insights. So I have some questions, and one of them centers around, I would look more towards the job aspects, because I think over time we've come to sort of notice that most people who want to travel are usually looking for, as you mentioned in your presentation, greener pastures, and that sometimes hinges on also looking for job, or they get a job outside. So most of my question might tilt towards that aspect, not that I'm planning to japa anytime soon. Yeah. So you said Migrant Resource Center doubles as a job center. So I would like you to throw some light on that job center component of it.
Okay, thank you so much, Ben. Okay, so for the job center, which is, I would call it the NELEX platform, the National Electronic Labor Exchange, is more like the exchange registry of the ministry, where we do a collation of all job seekers, people who are interested, who are searching for a job, and we provide them with skills, generally on soft skills, hard skills, whatever they are interested in. But the aim of the job center is to promote employment, right? Now, there's a part of the Federal Ministry of Labor that does labor inspections. During this time, we go to organizations, and we're able to talk to them about the labor laws, and then we'll see how we can actually collaborate to see how we can make people gainfully employed. Now, the National Electronic Labor Exchange platform also has an online platform, which is the NELEX, www.nelex, I think that's nelexnigeria.gov. Let me just confirm that a second, please.
Yeah.
Yeah. www.nelex.gov.ng. Yeah, we had a former handle with the Nigeria, but it's been reviewed right now. So you can access the platform. And then on that platform, we have, now I'm talking about the electronic part, where on that platform, you have sections for the employers and then the job seekers. So these categories of people can come on the platform, register, and then a job matching is being done on that platform. Like that, yeah. While this activity is now physically replicated at the physical job centers, where we do a lot of employers outreach. We reach out to employers, do employers engagements, try to talk to them about the important, the categories of job seekers we have, while the job seekers are actually going through the process of training. We provide them with soft skills such as communication skills, CV writing. We help them review their CVs. I would like to stress this, very importantly, free of charge.
Yes, because I was just about coming back to that. It's always free of charge.
Yes, actually, it's at no cost, at no financial cost. It may cost you your time because you have to come to the center, you have to attend these trainings, that's your time, but no financial cost attached to it. So the services are actually provided. Sorry?
Is there some form of screening process, or I can come as long as I'm willing, I'm eligible to these trainings that you're offering?
Exactly. The thing is, it's categorized. Wow. We have those for graduates, right? Which is the employability skills training done in collaboration with our social partner, GIZ ZME. And then this is actually carried out every month. And then we also have those for business persons who are interested in either starting or improving their businesses. And we use models such as the SIYB model, that's the Start and Improve Your Business model. We also use the ICSS model to train these business persons, these persons interested in business, to have a better understanding of. Now, another thing is this: we encourage entrepreneurship, because it's not just about sitting at home and doing nothing. There are jobs out there. Yes, we are training you to get the job, but we also exchange. We also let people know that it's important you have the entrepreneurship mindset, so that you are able to actually start something for yourself while we're trying to let you. We're trying to do a job matching. Now, to the job matching section. They pass through a series of processes, such as the employability training, and then we organize employers' engagement activities so that we can let these employers know that, oh, we have these people that are in search of this job. And then when we see spaces, or when we see jobs that rightly match the job seeker, we do the job matching. But it's up to the employer to, make that decision. But we do the job matching aspect, and then we do, to further make this work, we do what we call the job fair. And I would like to stress this: all these activities are one and the same across all the migrant resource centers and job centers in the whole of Nigeria, across all the states where you have job centers and the MRCs. So all the activities are one and the same. So whatever I'm saying on this program still covers. Although there may be peculiarities, but it still covers. So whatever services you can access here in Edo State, you can also access it in Lagos, you can access it in Abuja, you can access it in Nasarawa State, and all the job centers in the whole of the Federation. Okay? So we do job fairs where we try to see how we can, the job seekers and the employers will meet, and then discuss terms, and they see if they can actually have a job placement. Then we have what we also call the internship placement, where we have people go and study a particular job and see if the last one we did was with GIZ ZME, and it lasted for I think a period of 6 months, and it was quite positive, because a lot of people were absorbed into the system. They were job placement. It was a positive one, actually. Job placement occurred, and aside that, I mentioned the CV clinic where we do a CV review. So we at the Migrant Resource Center / Job Center are actually trained to be job counselors. So we carry out a lot around discussing with these job seekers to see how what could be the reason why they are not gainfully employed. Now we do what we call career counseling. The one we just finished was GIZ Sky, where we did a career counseling with some job seekers. Trust me, what you discover during counseling are really top-notch. And then you'd understand that there are reasons why people are not actually gainfully employed. It's not all about the fact that there are no jobs. I always try to repeat that. It's not that there are no jobs. The problem is we don't have the right skill to match the available jobs. So we have looked at this as an issue, and this is something we are looking at how we can actually solve. Thank you.
Wow. Wow, thank you so much. Thank you. I think the question I asked just let the cannon loose, and a lot of information was just coming out. And this is really, really interesting. But from not as TIS Consulting, being that we are partners and we have been embarking on this journey for quite some time, but from an onlooker, I would want to ask, how is it that for an average person, are they really aware that these services are available and these opportunities are available? And you mentioned the clinic and the job matching and the fair and all that occurring at certain times within the year. And how is it that the average people, are they really aware? And the success stories, are they really out there for people to be able to appreciate what the MRC is currently doing?
Yes, I would say, are they out there? Yes, but are they enough? No, because the truth is people need to continuously get the awareness that this is actually ongoing. We are doing a lot around sensitization. We are doing a lot of outreaches, trying to let people know that this is what's going on at the Migrant Resource Centers of the job centers of the Federal Ministry of Labor and Employment. Now, we have a lot on our social media pages. Do most of our activities, we roll them out on the social media pages so that people can actually see what's going on these platforms. And then we do a lot of in-house sensitizations. We do a lot of outreaches within our states and states around the Federation. I would like to also emphasize the Migrant Resource Center Job Center Edo State covers the South. While we have the Lagos covering the entire Southwest, and then we have Abuja and Ado covering the North and North Central, the entire North and then the North Central. There are hopes, and I know there are thoughts in line to establish more in, I think, Enugu and Kano, but that's for my bosses to actually let you guys know. But that's a lot of sensitization is being done, a lot of activities are being done, and I'm being hopeful that with time, a lot of people will get to know the activities and the services that we provide and then benefit from them.
Yeah, very true. Thank you so much. And I think, like you mentioned, a lot of awareness needs to be done, and that is where I think each and every one of us have a role to play to make sure that these opportunities are out there for people to take advantage of what is going on. And as they say, knowledge is power. Basically, that is a no-brainer. The more you know, the more you know, and the more opportunities you can harness. And this is really interesting. So even here that it is free of charge, I think I find that really, 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 really compelling and very interesting for anyone. I think it's covering those who want to migrate, potential migrants, and those who are actually just looking for job opportunities here in Nigeria. Also, it encompasses that, I believe. All right, thank you so much. Then in your discussion, you mentioned something on understanding terms of conditions, and I'm sure that especially applies to receiving foreign job placements or job placements abroad. And so I would like you to speak to that. I don't know if you can also maybe highlight a situation where You can use placeholders where necessary. Situations where there was a contract that was obviously somewhat against or not in favor of this particular potential migrants. So I'd like you to speak to that review of job contracts. And because from my perspective, I will be excited if I just receive a contract. Maybe I've been applying to a lot of companies in Europe or US, and I receive a job contract. I'll be all excited to accept and start preparations and all that. And I would need you to say something that will give me a prompt to know that, okay, while I've received this, I think I should go to the Migrants Resource Center for them to have a look at this and so that I can be advised appropriately. So I'd like you to speak to this, please.
All right, thank you so much, Ben. Now, I wouldn't want to use examples generally, but I would just give an overview. Now, there are some countries that their terms and conditions are not written in English language.
Okay.
And require translation.
Yeah.
Right? Now, translation can be based on the understanding of someone. Not verbal, not exactly what the terms and conditions say. So what we do at the Migrant Resource Center and at the International Labour Migration Division is this. We help go through these terms and conditions and translate it to English so that the person or the holder or the bearer will be able to look through and understand clearly. The aim is to provide the person with information, clear information. So the person is able to look at it clearly and have a clear understanding of what he or she is going into. Okay. Now, because some of these documents are written in a foreign language, sometimes you just jump into signing the documents without the clear understanding of what it is. And the minute you have appended your signature, like you have accepted it, and then you're out of the country and you are there, you can't really change it. Do you get what I'm saying? So during the activity of this review, the person is given the ability to have a clear understanding of what the document entails. And then the person is given the chance to either continue, because the truth is we provide the advice. We don't tell the bearer or tell the migrants what the person should do. The major aim is to provide the person with clear information. The person has, like Angela rightly mentioned earlier, migration is your right. Nobody stops you. Nigeria is not stopping you from migrating. But we are charged with the responsibility to ensure that you migrate right. You have a safe, regular, orderly, and well-informed migration. So that is why it was established for us to actually look into these terms and conditions, provide the person with an interpreted version of, or a translated version of the document, and allow the person make the person's choices. Now, the truth is, we have had cases where during a pre-departure orientation, after the person has analyzed and had a better understanding of the document, the person decides, oh, no, I don't want to migrate because really these terms and conditions are not the kind of terms and conditions I need for myself. And then during that orientation, the person backs out of the trip. Even after, okay, the whole excitement, and it's true, with the whole excitement, one doesn't really think of actually going to get a second opinion on this. Now, another aspect of this review of this document is the fact that we're able to detect whether these documents are actually real or not. A lot of people have been deceived into migrating with the promise of they have a job. They've been given, I don't know if I should use the term fake, appointment letters, and then when they get to the country of destination, they discover that these jobs do not exist. This is actually one of the something we do during this procedure. We check the authentication, or rather, we try to authenticate to be sure that this document is authentic. And then in the course of the whole investigation, the course of the whole review, we're able to say, okay, no, this is actually not the right document. A lot of people do not even know that there are issues you need to look closely at the probably the company email address that they used to send you a job offer. There are a lot of little things people tend to overlook when it comes to these employment offers. So during this activity, we're able to see these things, and then we're able to let the person know that, look, this does not exist. We even go to the extent of reaching out to these organizations or these employers out there to ascertain whether this opportunity or this job offer really exists. And we've had cases where, oh, they don't exist. And we're able to let the person know that, look, it doesn't exist, so that you don't actually go on the wild goose chase. So you see, there is a lot that goes on around that. Thank you.
Wow. Wow. Thank you. Thank you. I think now I know that if I should have an offer letter, I think I have enough reason now to approach the Migrant Resource Center, any of the centers around Nigeria, for them to have a look. I think this is becoming very important, especially when we've heard so much about situations where people get fake employment, they travel and they are in a fix and they are confused. And okay, let me ask, peradventure that someone is a victim, what role can the Migrant Resource Center play there? Or what role would they play? Would they be able to connect with a government agency that will help? Or what role can the Migrant Resource Center play there, just in a situation where the person has already fallen victim?
Of course, yes. The Migrant Resource Center actually has a role to play there, because the minute you reach out to the Migrant Resource Center, we're able to escalate to the appropriate body that would be able to handle such situations. For example, if you migrate and then you have issues around, or probably around your migration, and then we're able to connect you with the appropriate body that would be able to help resolve that issue. Now, that is another aspect of the return reintegration process for people who have actually migrated and probably got stranded and have decided that they want to return. They reach out to the Migrant Resource Center, and then through the International Organization on Migration, we're able to have them returned back into the country. And then they start the process of reintegration and the process of readmission and reintegration. So yes, you can reach out to the Migrant Resource Center for any issues on migration, and then we'll reach out to the appropriate bodies who would be able to help handle your situation.
Okay, wow, thank you. So I think still in line with this, there's a question that just came in, and it's asking if the MRC also directs or guide intending migrants who are skilled manual laborers on which country to go. Do you offer that kind of guidance? So I'm a skilled manual laborer and I really want to migrate. I really want to travel. Does the Migrant Resource Center provide that kind of service to directly or just guide someone on what country to go based on their skill set?
Yes, Ben, that's why I mentioned earlier that we do what we call the migration advice. Now, that's what happens during the migration advice section, where we get to talk to intending migrants. We look at their qualifications, we look at their skills, we look at what skills they have and how relevant it is in different countries. So yes, we can discuss on what country the intending migrant wants to migrate to based on the skills available. And that way we're able to provide advice around such. Now we also go to the as far as talking to the person about the qualifications the person needs to migrate. I mentioned earlier the trade test certificate, which is something that is admissible anywhere in the world. Now a lot of people do not understand that as artisans or as skilled laborers, you require this kind of certificate to actually migrate. So during the course of migration advice sections counseling, we talk talk to the intending migrants about this, and they are able to understand exactly why they shouldn't go to this country or why they should go. Remember, like I said, we do not tell you exactly what you know. We don't tell you what you should do, but we provide you with all the information you need to make the right decision. So yes, we're going to be talking about the countries. We're going to be talking about the skills available in these countries. We're going to be talking about how your skill matches the skills needed in this country. And then we're going to be advising you on the probably the processes you need to go through, the certificates you need to get, and so on.
Oh, wow. Wow, thank you. Thank you. So, so I guess I was right. A lot of the questions are coming towards the job aspect. So someone asked the question, a graduate from the National Institute of Hospitality and Tourism, and the person wants to know if there are job opportunities for someone in that particular line in Nigeria or outside. Let's say the person is considering a migration option.
Yes, there are a lot of jobs. I keep telling people, look, the truth is sometimes we search for jobs, but we are not searching in the right places. Are you aware that location can actually be a limiting factor to a person's ability to get a job? For example, there are some jobs that are actually more available in some parts of the country that are not available in some parts of the country. For example, if you're looking for jobs in hospitality and you are looking for job, you say you're searching for the job in Edo State here. I'm like, wow, because these jobs are available here in Edo State. And then you're looking for something like that in Lagos. You're looking for something like that in Abuja. These jobs are readily available in such places. But if you may say you're looking for such a job in Bayelsa and you're like, oh no, there are certain skills that are needed in high demand in some parts of the locality, while the other skills are needed. So you have to understand that these are the dynamics around the labor in Nigeria, and not just in Nigeria, but also in other countries, because the truth is, it's still the issue of the skills mismatch and all that. The skill you need in this country may not be the same skill that is in high demand in the other country. So these are part of the things that we discuss during our counseling sections and during our activities, even information sections. I didn't mention that we do a lot of information sections, of which TISO has been part of some of these activities. We do information sections on country specifics. For example, we just finished one on Germany, and then we on migration to Germany and also the EU countries. And we do a lot around not just EU countries, but even within Africa. There are some skills that are in high demand in this country. So we talk about that. For hospitality, yes, there are actually jobs for hospitality. The problem may just be the location.
Wow. Thank you. I think in one of our conversations, we got to find out that we've been hearing a lot about the skills shortage list from different countries, whether it's Europe or it's America. Different countries have skills shortage lists. And it was interesting to find out that some African countries now have skills shortage lists. And I don't, is it possible for, let's say, someone like the person who asked the question in the hospitality industry to come to the Migrant Resource Center to get this kind of information to say, okay, I want to travel out of Nigeria, but within Africa, can they have access to these skills shortage lists to know what kind of skill set, are their skill set valuable in what country? Do you provide that kind of guidance to say, okay, I'm in the hospitality industry, I want to migrate, let's say, within Africa? Do you provide that kind of guidance to these kind of people and guiding them through that process?
Yes, we do. It's still part of the activities carried out during the counseling sections and during the migration advice sections, because you can actually access those skill shortage lists. You are able to understand what you need to do, where you need, if you need an upskilling, if you need a reskilling. These are two different things. A lot of people are currently out of jobs because their skills are actually either outdated or not updated. So we provide them with this information, enabling them understand that probably they need an upskilling or a reskilling to better match the skills out there. But for the skills shortage list, yes, you can have access to that. And we can also discuss this during the counseling sections with you.
Wow, thank you. Thank you so much. I think someone asked a question. Let me just put it there. So the person teaches and interprets Portuguese. And the person wants to find out if it's of benefits to any of these organizations. The person is based in Abuja and is probably thinking if that skill is required in any of these organizations. And I don't know if the person will want to migrate. I don't know, just saying. But are there also organizations in Nigeria that requires that kind of skill, teaching and
Yes.
can interpret Portuguese?
Yes, actually, a lot of people, we have we have the group of people we call the recruiters. The recruiters, these people that do a lot of recruiting for international organizations and all that. Yes, they would require the services of this particular person, but I wouldn't be able to. I can't speak on behalf of the Federal Ministry of Labor and Employment because that is not within my jurisdiction. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. So apparently the person wants to migrate. So I think we will put up your how can they contact? Okay, this person is in Abuja. That means the person will be able to contact the Migrant Resource Center there in Abuja. Those in Benin, I'm sure we'll put up your address for those of them that want to come to your office to get clarity and gain more insights on how they can be either employable here in Nigeria or how they can make their skills useful traveling abroad. So I know one of you mentioned a challenge in one of the in the course of this our discussion, and I think I'll just wrap up with that. Every other question we will be able to answer. Maybe we'll distribute them in nuggets on our social media platform. So I would love to ask, so what are the challenges in this role now in the Migrant Resource Center? I know you mentioned one which has to do with awareness and publicity is not enough. So around this area, what other challenges have you encountered, either from people with misinformation, the spread of disinformation, which are like fake news, or people who really do not know where to go from where they are, whether potential migrants or those that have already migrated. So what challenges in the organization have you observed, and how can we, from our own aspect, using our platforms and using the power of advocacy and publicity, how can we help in solving that?
Thank you so much. I think one you rightly said one, which is the advocacy and the sensitization, people getting to know about the activities of the MRC, not just the MRC, but also I know TISO does a lot around informing. I think TISO also has a migration desk as well. You're part of the Migration Advisors Network that is here in Edo State, which was established by GIZ-ZME, which has actually helped establish desks in different organizations where people can actually easily reach out and talk to these people and then still refer back to the Migrant Research Center when they need more information and all that. So yes, that with that establishment, we've been able to reach some hard to reach places, which used to be a challenge. But then we still have the issues around awareness creation, which I know that with CSOs and with organizations like yours, we would be able to create more awareness and let people know that these things are in place for them to get the information. I know some time ago, the International Organization of Migration launched the Edo Shore for You program, which actually helped to, create more awareness on the activities of the Migrant Resource Center and other organizations around. So I know that was a challenge, but I would say we still need to do more in that aspect. Then we also need the challenge of mindset, what's the word now? Mindsets, the challenge of mindsets, because a lot of Nigerians, a lot of people have the mindset that the land is greener there, without understanding the basics, without understanding what's going on. And with the stuff on the social media that people see, people only tell the success stories on the social media. It's very hard for you to actually come across the other part of it, especially you would hardly see someone telling you that terrible situation the person passed through while going through the irregular routes, passing through the Mediterranean Sea. Terrible situations. They will hardly tell you. The only thing is you see you'd see them,
The success
snapping
stories.
pictures, success stories and all that. The truth is, all success stories are not totally success stories. We need to create more awareness to let these people know that, look, it's not just what you see on social media. You have to have the real information. You have to have an understanding of why you are migrating before you decide to migrate. And irregular migration, everyone should say no to it. So we need to put in more effort. We need to collaborate more on doing a lot of sensitization on dangers of irregular migration, so that people will understand that this is not the way out. There are real alternatives. There are regular ways that people can migrate, and they can also always reach out to the Migrant Resource Center and reach out to Migration Advisors Network to understand, to have better information on this. But that's like I said earlier, the advocacy, we need to do more on it, and the mindset, a shift in mindset, letting people know what is right and what it really is another part that we need to focus on. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. So as we always say no to irregular migration, because except you migrate through the regular route, can you actually harness the full benefits of the nation that you're actually going to, and be treated as a migrant, a regular migrant, because there are a lot of benefits, there are a lot of opportunities that are available to you. But when you go through the regular route, it's terrible. That is if the person actually makes it. And I think I was having a conversation one time, and we were talking about we are more aligned to when we, in our own local conversations, when we hear, oh, I was able to travel and this was how I traveled, and so on and so forth, we are more aligned to that one, to say, okay, I didn't have paper, I was able to travel. We are more excited about that. Meanwhile, there are a lot of dangers that happens around that kind of movement. And so it has made the work of agencies really difficult. It has made the work of the Migration Advice Network really difficult, because most people just listen to what their friend says rather than digging in deep, doing the main work to find out what is the best way for me to migrate and how can I harness the full benefits. So thank you so much, Joanne. I'm so excited to have had you on this call, and we'll be calling it close for today. It is already 5 p.m. I would have had a lot of things to talk about, but this was really, really insightful, and I'll encourage each and everyone planning to migrate, or those of us who are currently in Nigeria and you're looking for a job, you're trying to upskill, I suggest you should find your way to a Migrant Resource Center. These are systems that have been provided in Nigeria for us to build ourselves, equip ourselves, so that we are resources for whatever nation that we'll have to go to. Thank you so much, Joanne. And Angela is on call now. Before we call it close, I would like you to give us your thoughts around this particular session, and then we'll call it close for today. Thank you.
It's actually wonderful to hear all Joanne said. That's why I said I didn't want to speak too much. Let's hear from the experts in the field. But I really need people to understand, especially the question of when you have artisans. I think just 2 days ago, I actually saw someone put up a guy who had his picture when he was learning mechanic workshop in Nigeria. And today he's in the US working with Ferrari.
Yeah.
You understand? I saw that picture and I was like, wow. So I think it's really important that people understand that artisans have a lot of opportunities abroad. But as you said, get your trade certificates. Let us know you have something to show that you actually, because you go abroad, they don't have plumbers, or you want to call a plumber. And then, in fact, the cost of calling the plumber itself, you will say, let that tap remain like that. You find people bringing it to Nigeria, broken beds, broken chairs, because they know it's going to be so cheap to fix them here in Nigeria rather than there, because they don't have artisans. So I was really happy to hear that part, that there are artisans who can actually travel abroad as skilled laborers. And I really, really do appreciate all Joanne has said today. She actually covered everything we needed her to cover on. Joanne, thank you so much. It's nice to know, as you said, the challenges I see you have which is something that is really prevalent in Nigeria, is the fact that people just don't know where they should go for help. And I'm hoping that we have the National Orientation Agency. I would maybe think that the MRC should actually work with them to actually educate Nigerians that there are organizations like the MRC where people can go to and get all this information, because you covered a really wide spectrum. We can take our CVs there to be looked at. We can take the employment letters we're getting to be looked at, because people have been scammed being told, oh, you have a job abroad, and then you get there and realize there's actually no job. You can take your letters in other languages there to be translated. So there was so much to learn from this. And then really, as Benjamin has said, after this, I think it will be another episode that will be very good for people to go back to and watch and pick information that they need. So, John, I want to say thank you very much. We really appreciate all the information you've given us today. We really appreciate it. And I want to say thank you also to everyone who has joined our little webinar today, and hope they've been able to take some things away from here. So thank you very much. And thank you, Benjamin. Very, very good coordination here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. This was really interesting. Thank you, Angela, for joining us. Thank you, Joanne, for joining us. And thank you to all our participants and audience that joined us today. For those of us that registered, we are going to be making available the presentations for you to go through, where we would also have the contact details in case you want guidance and one-on-one counseling. There's a form that will be shared to your emails, so be expecting that. Thank you so much, and this is the end of the 10th Building Bridges webinar. We are looking forward to having you here again for the September edition. The publications will be going out, and I would like you to invite a friend. And if you found this video useful, I also want you to share to your network for them to also know that Nigeria has systems that support migration and has systems that also support capacity building here in Nigeria. Once again, thank you so much. I'm Benjamin, and have a lovely evening ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Angela.